I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Big cases, Oklahoma takes on a big pharma in the US.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
Well, that last bit was a lie, but his supporters have so little belief in his promises, they are paying for it themselves. And we speak to a Sudanese artist about the nation's creative revival after the revolution. As top of our newsfeed, opioids and Oklahoma. In a historic first, a US state is suing a huge pharmaceutical company for its role in making and distributing opioid-based painkillers. About 130 Americans die every day from opioid overdoses. Now, the lawyers for Oklahoma say the distribution of these pills by big drug makers like Johnson & Johnson is the worst man-made public health crisis in the history of the United States.
During this trial, Your Honor, our evidence will show that 4,653 Oklahomans died of unintentional overdoses involving prescription opioids from 2007 to 2017.
Let's take a look at some other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, Pokemon Sleep is trending in both English and Japanese after the Pokemon Company announced its newest game, Pokemon Sleep. It will apparently reward players for having good sleeping habits, which is a novel and interesting idea when it comes to a game. But if you think about the way Pokemon Go got people up off the sofa, maybe Pokemon Sleep will see people getting some good solid sack time. Now, a viral video of two kids from Turkey. The little ones are not getting up to mischief. They're actually eating ice cream very discreetly. The comments around this video say they're eating it like this so they don't offend people who are fasting during Ramadan. And this is a live stream from the World Wildlife Fund. It shows a plastic bottle and has a countdown clock ticking down the 450 years it'll take that bottle to decompose. It's a comment on the damage plastics have done to the planet and a reminder, if you need it, to reuse and recycle wherever you can. Now, one of the words Donald Trump loved to say while he was running for US president was wall. He said it hundreds of times in reference to a big, beautiful wall, his words again, that he was going to build on the border with Mexico. He also fantasized about how it would be paid for, but even in all his dreams or nightmares, he could not have predicted it was going to be paid for like this.
The US-Mexico wall is going up, but it's not the fulfillment of Donald Trump's election promise.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
Well, turns out Mexico won't pay, and neither will Congress. So his supporters are building their own barrier with money they've crowdfunded.
That GoFundMe page, in the course of 2 weeks, created over $20 million in private donations, averaging about $65, some as low as $5, some as high as $10,000. So just under 500,000 Americans have donated to help protect and build a wall. And these walls are being built on private property inside the Roosevelt barriers in accordance with the international rules between the country of Mexico and the United States.
The group We Build the Wall has constructed nearly a kilometre of wall in southern New Mexico over the last few days. They say they have to take border security into their own hands to stop Central American migrants entering the US. But the mayor of the city has issued a cease and desist order, and the Mexican authority that oversees border issues says it has to come down.
We discovered it in a routine visit to the field. This is a project that hasn't been presented for approval by the Commission.
The group doesn't plan on stopping. They've raised $20 million so far, and they're trying to reach $1 billion. Let's put that into perspective. The National Network of Abortion Funds has received a surge of donations since Alabama passed restrictive abortion laws last week of about $262,000. Crowdfunding to help government employees through a month-long shutdown in January raised about $300,000, and crowdfunding for victims and families of the Parkland shooting raised over $750,000 in just 24 hours. It's unclear whether the group will be allowed to continue building their wall, but say the amount of money raised proves how passionate people are about securing the border, and that they're just getting started in filling all the gaps.
All right, next to the Netherlands for a wee vignette about a man who converted to Islam last year and is now marking his first Ramadan.
Ik vind het heel mooi om mee te maken. Ja, dat is, ik geniet er echt van. Het vasten op zich valt enorm mee, dat had ik veel zwaarder verwacht. De mensen uit de straat die zorgen er echt voor dat ik niet in mijn eentje zonder eten zit of vereenzaam eigenlijk. Ik denk nou bekeren nooit, maar op een gegeven moment was het echt zo overtuigend dat ik denk van ja, maar dit is een logische stap. Ik sta hier gewoon helemaal achter. Wat ik het meest essentieel vind, de opmerking of de uitspraak van er is maar één God die het recht heeft aanbeden te worden, die raakt me echt. Dan denk ik als je kijkt wat die ene zin alleen al oplost aan de afgoderij die ik eigenlijk in mijn normale leven gewend was, dat is prachtig. Mijn moeder en mijn broers die zijn beide shahada geweest. Dus dat was voor hun ook de eerste keer dat ze een moskee van binnen zagen. Dat had ik heel goed ontvangen hier. Ja, dus verder, mijn broer die vond het jammer dat hij geen biertjes meer kon drinken.
Okay, let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Wednesday. Now, there was a massive hacking attempt at New Zealand's government computers. The attempt was to try and access the country's new wellbeing budget. With more than 2,000 attempts to get it in over 2 days, it was the biggest cybersecurity threat that New Zealand has ever faced. There was some suggestion that the hack was attempted by people working for the opposition National Party. They deny having anything to do with it. A record number of women have begun working for the Australian government as ministers in the cabinet of Scott Morrison. There will be 7 female ministers, the most in Australian history, 7 out of 22. A podcaster who has uncovered miscarriages of justice in the United States has put up $20,000 in reward for information in the next case he's looking into. His name is Bob Ruff and he was a fireman, but he quit that to start the Truth and Justice podcast. Now, it was extremely popular and has had some success in getting people out of prison. The latest case he's asking questions about involves the murder of a man called Jamie Melgar. Mr. Melgar's wife is currently serving 27 years in prison for his killing. She says she didn't do it, and Bob Ruff believes her. 2 French women are suing the state for $180,000 because they say the authorities didn't protect them from air pollution. They both have lung and breathing problems. It's the first case of its kind in France, but could be the start of similar cases all over the world. An inquest is due to open in the UK into the death of Ella Kissy-Debra. Her mother contends that Ella died because of air pollution in London. And the US state of Kentucky wants to bring in a law which will ban tattoo artists from doing tats on scar tissue. They say it's a health concern, but most people see it as the latest attempt by a state in the US to tell people what they can and cannot do with their bodies. And Belgium's former King Albert II has given his saliva to scientists to determine if he's the father of Delphine Boel. King Albert has always denied he's her father and has only agreed to do the test after the court said they'd fine him thousands of dollars a day until he gave his DNA. Now, Khartoum is coming to life through street art as people begin expressing themselves artistically now that the al-Bashir regime has been deposed. Murals illustrating important moments of the recent revolution are popping up on the walls of Sudan's capital. Here's Adama.
The walls of Khartoum have become canvases. It's where artists have been painting a picture of Sudan's new political era, now that President Omar al-Bashir has been toppled. One of the paintings is of a barricade used by Bashir's army to keep protesters away from the defense ministry, where they were camped out. Graffiti artist Mazen Saleh says street art has emerged in a big way since the revolution.
There was no possibility to express our views like this before the revolution. There were attempts to decorate the streets, the tunnels and the public places in order to reach the recipient, the citizen, but it was not possible. The doors were closed and the works were rejected by the old regime.
Other forms of artistic expression are also being used to keep the revolution alive. Political cartoonist Khalid El-Bey is currently in exile in Denmark. His criticism of Bashir made it impossible for him to live in his homeland.
Now I see my role more of an ambassador, because I try to tell the world what's happening in Sudan. Because of my social media following, it's about how to concentrate and how to tell something in a very short way, because at the end of the day, I live on the internet and I'm under the mercy of a scroll.
People outside the army's headquarters still use music, dance and volleyball in their protest.
We use the drum as a way to reach our goal. Every person has his own way to reach his goal. We use the drum to rally the demonstrators and deliver strongly our message. For us, students playing the drum is very popular.
Demonstrators remain in the streets, demanding a full transfer of power to a civilian government. For as long as the revolution is alive, people in Sudan will record it through art.
Yasmin El-Nur is a digital artist based in Khartoum. She says that there's a need for a new visual language in Sudan. She aims to uplift and celebrate Nubian culture, which she says was hindered by the former regime.
It started off just being a way for me to empower myself and empower others, and to just use it as a tool to enhance people's knowledge and to, to document a culture that hasn't been really visually documented much, in my opinion, at least through digital collage art. Sudan is a very diverse country with a lot of different tribes and a lot of different ethnicities making up the population. And there has been a political strategy of Arabization. As a Nubian, I see what the Arabization process has done to my culture, and it has single-handedly almost eradicated this culture and similar cultures in Sudan. And I think that a renaissance definitely needs to happen. I like to use a lot of female icons in my work. As you can see in one of my pieces called Mother Sudan is Watching, it just highlights the strong presence and the maternal spirit of women and how they have nurtured and helped this revolution happen. I have a piece called Where Are My Rights? I actually made this piece before the revolution, questioning women's rights in Sudan. The image has a Sudanese bride in it, and she looks very independent, and she's posing in a powerful way. But then I realized, as things got worse in Sudan over the last year, it applied to everyone, and it's not only about women, it's about Sudanese people's rights as a whole. So I think that piece is very applicable even to this day.
We'll do from the Newsfeed team. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll see you again tomorrow.